What's up, people? Welcome to this week's episode of the Indy and Doctor podcast. At the top of the show, it's best to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So, we did an episode last week, India and Pakistan and the escalating tensions in Kashmir. That has now gone up a notch due to airstrikes, due to other issues, and they're both nuclear powerhouses, and it's turning into a much bigger problem. Both of us have family out there. Both of us understand how sensitive the situation is. We're not here to finger point. We're not here to say Muslims bad, Hindus bad, Modi bad, Pakistan government bad, because I don't know the name of their governing minister. Very sorry, right? But we aren't here to do that. We're just here to simply say, don't want a war, just want it to stop. All the bordering states are going to be more affected. We don't want that. Nobody in the world in their right mind wants that besides people who are nationalists. And we just want it to stop. We're not really going to keep conversating over the same thing again and again, week on week with other developments. There's many other channels out there. Mainstream media is now picking it up, so you can follow other people like, I don't know, the BBC News, Carl Kalinske, whoever you want to take you through a day-by-day breakdown. But it's a lot to take in, especially for us who have people there on the ground that are potentially at risk. So all we do is plead for people to be, number one, empathetic, number two, compassionate, and number three, stop spreading false information, please. Even when Godden sends me stuff, I don't want to look at it because I'm thinking, I can't tell if this is real or not, and it's going to make me feel a certain way. I encourage other people to do the same thing. Godden, anything to say?
Just to add to that, look, Haroon, I think, put it very eloquently, but being British-born, both of us, we have friends who are Pakistani, Indian, and to us here in the UK, just try and carry on as much as normal. We've never really had an issue. I've never really had an issue growing up, whether you're Punjabi, Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, whatever. So I want that to continue. And the second thing is just keep the people of India and Pakistan in your prayers. That's what I say. Part karo. And hopefully this is all resolved. War is never good for anybody. Unless there's people behind this who just want to make money. That's all war is really always about. Money, land, assets. Yeah.
Money, assets, power. Yeah. The Gurus warned us about this in the Greed, What are the 7 sins? The 7 deadly sins?
5, bro.
Sorry, 5. 7 is Christianity, 5. What are the 5 deadly sins?
Film. Well, you've asked the question, so you can answer it now.
No. The 7 in the film 7 is very dark.
Yeah.
I ain't going through that again. But what's the 5 in Punjabi?
You said it, so that's one.
I don't know. Tell me.
Acha. Do you know him in English, or do you want me to tell him in Gurmukhi? You can have a guess. Yeah, I mean, you said one of them already.
Greed.
Yeah.
Lust.
Yeah, so calm is lust.
Krodh is one of them. No, it's not Krodh, is it?
Krodh.
Krodh, sorry. Thanks, Krodh. Anger.
Yeah.
What else is there? Oh, that's mental. Come on, man. This is dying.
Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar.
Which are?
So, Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh. So, attachment. Hankar, pride. And you've already had greed.
There we go.
So those, yeah. And you know what's beautiful about that thing you just brought up there? It doesn't matter if you existed 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years in the future, if you listen to this podcast, these things are all the same. This will never change. This will never change. Men's, women's desires for the things you want in the world, comparing to other people, wanting what they want, never being happy and content. Santok, that's the other word I taught you a while ago. This will never change. Timeless lessons. So
with Indian Doctor. Anyway, let's kick off the main episode of Where You Click, shall we?
Go.
Godden, what do Diljit Dosanjh and JusReign have in common?
The start of there.
They've also had a very big week in the media, haven't they?
They have.
For example, JusReign's Late Bloomer series has finished, as I've mentioned beforehand in a previous clip that we put out recently. Season 2's finished. We're going to talk about it. There are spoilers ahead. If you want to skip ahead through this section and go to the Diljit bit, you're more than welcome to. But we're here to dissect the whole 8 episodes, what happened, everything that was touched on, all the conversations it has broached, and enjoy. Got it. Episode 1.
Before you go into each of the episodes, I'm just going to do a little a little one-liner at the start of this. What a great job he has done. I remember series 1, I thought, how's he going to top this? And then I watched this and I was like, wow, just great job. Jasmeet, I mean, from YouTuber to what you're doing now, like, bro, leaps and bounds, man.
What I appreciate is that he's still got elements of his skit stuff in his show.
Yeah.
You can see it in certain bits.
Jogi uncle, look at my strong.
Right.
Look at my
There's certain
strong.
bits where he's
Yeah.
incorporated that in, given a bit of a wink and a nod to us, which is
Yeah.
nice.
And Babbu.
Especially those that are watching it.
Babbu's character.
And Babbu as well, and his solo appearances.
Oh,
But he isn't the tied banda. He's the main funny guy who's a super religious banda as well. That's good because we all know people like that. Now, fantastic, very big fan of it.
Yeah.
Season 2 was very, very good. I think it was better than season 1 because it dove into deeper issues.
Agreed.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to do episode, but the things that really stuck. I mean, if you could just episode 1, I think the very first bit, I was like, yo, kissing. Okay.
Just me, man. Okay.
Yeah, just me kissing. This is like serious acting now. This isn't like just, doing skits. Just me with your top off. Okay. And the thing is, the bit where they're about to get jiggy, I was like, oh, they're going to cut scene. They're going to cut scene. They're going to cut scene. That guy comes in to fix a router. They're going to cut scene. There's no cutting scene here. I was like, nah. I don't even nay.
What, you thought just because a brown banda was doing a show, he's going to do brown things and cut the episode and leave you thinking, no, he's going to show you the whole thing.
But do you see how we're conditioned, right?
Full
Like, it's just, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਸਭ ਹੁੰਦਾ. Everybody know, okay? But ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ. We don't want to see it.
But we did want to see it because I was like, Jasmeet. Okay, well done.
But that was a big, like, kind of like, okay. I was like, okay, you're a serious actor, man. I feel like in kind of, I'd say, Hollywood or mainstream acting, you have roles and you have to do things in certain roles. But it's part of acting. It's not like, it's just part of the job. But I feel like to do that, you've got to be comfortable and you have to look natural. And that stuff is not easy, man. That is not easy.
As he showed the nature of living in a multi-accommodation room or house.
Yeah.
But that looked like an illegal HMO, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, mate. Bloody Inspector Auntie coming down.
Inspector Auntie coming through and punching a hole through the wall accidentally.
Yeah. No, bro, that's definitely illegal. What she's clearly doing is, right, it's one camera. She split one floor order, split it into multiple rooms, and HMO banata, charging everybody rent.
That's it.
Yeah. She's just making pay in it. And apparently, it's quite a common thing in Canada for the basements.
Yeah, I think it's more common in Canada than it is over here because I don't tend to see things split in that way, so that level in that tight space.
Yeah, I mean, that if that was here, that's an example of an illegal HMO. HMOs all have regs that you have to meet. Fire doors, certain size, communal rooms have to be a certain thing. This is like full desi kamana. What I did like though, that aside, was the the pyar between the guys who are actually staying there. That one guy who's clearly not Punjabi but helped.
Oh yeah,
I really liked his character, man. He was, and we'll come on to it. That other character that came in, the other singer. Yeah, I really liked that kind of thing. That kind of. But yeah, so Jasmeet, growing up back to episode 1. Carry on.
Smashed it. Episode 1, I liked it. Episode 2, though, is where I thought this show started to liven up more and more.
Remind me,
the poetry slam.
Yeah, the poetry slam.
Let's just talk about Babbu first, okay? I've watched that scene of him trying to find him in the toilet about 5 times. So well done.
Well, yeah, that bit well done. But actually, when he's delivering as well, then this was from the position of the horse. Like, it's just the delivery, with the eyes and the handshake, like doing the handshake thing. Don't be leaving me here. Saying I need some high numbered.
He also said the mashallah as well, and I was like, "Yo, what?"
He said that.
Yeah. He did. I think he did a handshake. I don't know if it was the subtitles or he said like salam or something, but he was saying like shallah. I'm sure I heard that. Then he sat back down and he's like, "I need to take a dirty shit." Then he's taking a shit and he's going, "Why, Guru?" I was like, "Geezer." One minute you said Muslim saying, next minute you said Sikhi saying.
No, but that was the reference back to the mechanic video. The Baba.
Yeah.
That was the cut back to him in that mechanic video. So that was
so good.
Classic.
So good.
Poetry slam. Yes, you got
the
Chippy.
Poetry slam episode.
Chippy's running it. Yeah.
What I appreciate is he also was a bit of a knob, just me to the owner.
So that last bit, because in that episode, he gets introduced as he's coming in as the guest judge or whatever, and the mayor is a bit like you don't know what to make of him at that point because it's the first time you've seen him, and he's like, "Oh, we should connect."
The mayor,
like, okay, Umair, his name.
Oh, Umair. Sorry.
Or
Yeah.
Omar, it might be Omar. Umair, I can't remember his exact name. But he's like, oh yeah, we should connect. But then he just drops it. The end goes, why would I pay you? And everything he said after that, spot on.
Yeah. Everything he said
Spot
after
on.
that was fair.
Spot on. Yeah.
But his
completely
character arc also went through being the righteous person to being the knob, which I thought was impressive because people can give you that impression at first,
Yeah,
where you seem to be
yeah.
actually quite solid and grounded and putting people in their place, but then emotional abuser. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So, Omer was basically saying we should connect and do that whole thing.
And
If
what do I
that
say,
was
Indy?
me and you saying that, what you would say is, yeah,
what would I say?
we'll make a WhatsApp group, right? Number one. Number two, I'd say, yeah, fine. Just drop us a DM to Indian Doctor, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. That's it. It's not that difficult. But he was just like, yeah, let's.
Yeah. It was quite vague, isn't it? The thing with connecting with somebody, this always depends on who's more in need and what's the urgency on it. For example, Ranj coming on that episode, everybody loved that episode. One of the, I think you said your favorite episode to date, shooting with Ranj. That connect was me pulling down my mirror saying, "Send me a message right now." So their connection is done. No DMs, no like you're forgetting about the end day. Remember, he's on a job. He's mid shoot. I was like, bro, hona, and then it gets done. So sometimes it has to be that direct, and you have to get it done. And then sometimes, it depends. I think you use the send us a DM as a kind of like a test as to let's see how committed you are. If you really want it, you're going to DM. That's the first thing.
No, I do that because sometimes I'm not with you, and then when they DM, I send it to you and say, hey, this is the person we spoke about. Do you want to approach them and maybe
and I think that's genuine. But I think there was another part to you, which is you're going to forget. I haven't been a bad person. I told you to DM, you didn't DM. I feel like part of your brain thinks that, and I think that's fair,
I'm just hesitant to give my number out immediately off the bat.
Yeah. I'm not hesitant to give your
which
number
is quite mad.
not my number. I'm going to put Indy in the group. And Indy's like, another WhatsApp group, Colonel. Here we go again.
Geez, I think we have over 50 groups together. That's not even an exaggeration.
I'm not. And then
We're so deeply embedded in each other's life.
Hey.
Anyway. So, other parts of episode 2, the struggle of an online persona trying to make money to make rent. I thought that was really well done, where he's saying, I don't know. Well, he said to his missus, how can I afford the better here? How much do I owe? She said, yeah, maybe like double. And he said, all right, I'll try and pay double next month.
Oh, when he's moved in with Rebecca?
Yeah. With what money and how are you doing that? The only way I would think is, dude, if it's that bad, you got to find a normal job. You can't be doing this YouTube stuff or online stuff. He never actually mentions the word YouTuber. He just does online creator stuff, which I think is fair because obviously there's copyright issues or whatever. I thought you might want to have a bit of a reality check here, maybe have a different day job just to hold it down and do your editing in the evenings and weekends. But
do you mean, as in, is that what you're suggesting should have been the story arc? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm suggesting that I understand why he's done that. But you would naturally think if things are getting that difficult, you need to get a normal job.
Which is fair. And I think because in this series they've introduced another character who has a separate struggle, I didn't think they need to focus on Rain having that struggle. So Jasmeet was like, yeah, you're right. If it was just him and the story, he probably would have done that. And then he would have been that guy doing that, and but still trying to hustle and do it. Because they had the other person doing that struggle. I guess that's why they didn't do it. And, Rebecca clearly held it down, man.
She was a really good actress. She was really good in the show. I don't know if she's actually Indo-Christian or not.
Yeah, don't know. I
haven't Googled.
See, I forgot series 1. And then I was like, is she a goodie?
Let me check. No. Rebecca, late bloomer actress. Carry on.
Yeah. He was just so happy moving into a flat with pillows and kana. But he was like, you spend this much on groceries? And he was like, Maggie noodle? I mean, that was a classic kind of reference, man.
Some of those were ridiculously expensive, the food choices. Yeah. So when you start shopping at places like Whole Foods and that, man, it gets dangerous in Canada.
But she's clearly holding it down then if she's got the flat and she's able to afford that stuff. I mean, pre the whatever happens later and the move she wants to make. It's not clear what she's doing. I think she is a dancer, or maybe I don't know what she's doing.
Can't see what her heritage is, but either way, if she is or isn't, she played the role great.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, respect to her. Okay. The first episode, which is now being deployed as a cutaway story historically. or like a side story that's completely away from the day-to-day element of the show. Episode 3, which is about him growing up during 9/11 with Neil together.
Yeah. Before that scene where his dad comes in, he's got him the school supplies.
Oh, the school bag. You know what?
That was so on point.
There's a school supply scene in the episode for those that haven't seen. And if you haven't seen it, this probably ruin it for you. I'm really sorry, but we got to talk about it because it's cultural impact, man. There's a scene where Jasmeet's dad comes in and he gives him a bag and he gives him a bunch of stuff. And his dad's like, this is what it is. This is good. And Jasmeet's like, no, this sucks. I don't want it. It's terrible. That hurt me inside because older now, I appreciate the sentiment that the dad was trying. And he won't respect just me talking back to him. He won't appreciate that. He's like, listen, Ganjaro, I've tried here and now you're shutting me down. How dare you? Yeah,
but that's not the response because I think the response his and our parents have said to us, Tenu ek din pata laguga. When your dad...
Yeah, but his dad didn't say that. His dad said, oh, fucking take it. Shut up.
Yeah, he was funny about it, but he didn't shout, like he didn't thingy him either. But I think, because I think about that and I was like, it's easy for us to be like, bro, why are you not appreciating that? Like, you know, do you know how much this costs?
Yeah, now we can appreciate that, but as a kid, you don't. As a kid, you don't. There were many points in the episode where like I wanted to pause and call my mum and dad and say, you really tried, innit? Like growing up. I don't remember exactly what or like the little things, but that part made me want to go back and say, I'm sorry if I was ever a dick growing up to mum and dad for when they were trying to get me like cool things. I really wanted to call them and say that in that moment.
Were you like that? That's my question.
I don't know. I probably was.
Did you understand the value of double private education or not?
Yeah, I did when I was told how much it cost.
As in you had a sense of what that money meant. You comprehended the number.
Yeah.
So, but that scene was just like, man, that was just so well directed. But yeah, nice thing. Obviously, we don't see Neil's back, so we didn't know he had like Gears and Ajula and stuff. That was interesting. I presume Bakshish is the Shora Pra, so it's his Chacha's son. I'm presuming that's what the Rishta is.
Yes.
Wait. Because he calls... No, wait. No, it's not.
Isn't it Daya? I'm sure it's Chacha.
No, because Puaji. Fopurji. Oh, now I get confused. Who's the Pua is your dad's sister. Your dad's sister. That's it. So Neil's dad and Jasmeet's mom are brother and sister. That's
there you go. There you go.
So that makes... So what are your dad's... No, your mom's brother. Mama, mommy.
Yeah.
Or Jasmeet. Yeah. So it's a very close rishta.
Very close rishta.
Very close rishta. So that's, it's first cousin. This is a really close rishta.
So in the episode, they talk about both of them growing up. Neil is keeping his gears. He's a ginger sick, which I thought was pretty cool.
Justin Timberlake.
That was really cool. Ginger sick. Jasmeet with the ultimate swag and slick talking to the goodie. I was like, oh, okay. Sing her swag. Fair play. Yeah. That never happened, Jasmeet. How dare you lie to us? We were never that slick.
Okay, listen. Baji, as Indy would say, documented on the podcast. You had this swag with the goodie.
I did not.
Bro, come on.
The swag was not like that. That was elite confidence.
She wanted you to na kita tu.
No. In that episode,
you went to ardas.
I didn't do that. In this episode, the confidence was elite. Like he was oozing with it. I was like, bro, have you got this much swag in the style, man?
Yeah. It's true.
That little thing acted his butt off, man. Respect to him.
Yeah.
Little Jasmeet.
Very little Jasmeet, very good. Little Neil, very good.
Very good. Now, episode's about 9/11 and 9/11 happening and the aftermath of it. Houses having eggs thrown at it, being told that they're Osama, go back from where they came from. Attacks happening in the area. The scene where his uncle and dad show up and he left his bag in the car. Come and get your bag. And he does the whole cutscene as if they're walking along with, bombs on their chest and everything. I was like, yo, that is probably how people looked at it though.
Yeah, and the kind of
so some people are going to say, oh, that's disrespectful. He's like, no, actually, people are thinking that inside once that probably happened, especially in the short aftermath of 9/11, especially with a guddy full of your, what is it, your, as you said, your mama and your dad in the car.
Yeah.
Outside school.
Yeah, because it is really well shot from the perspective of Jasmeet, isn't it? It's like, this is how I'm being perceived. But a lot of the time with these things, you feel all eyes are on you. Whether they are, they
Of
aren't, is a
course you
different
do.
thing,
Of
right? But
course you
you
do.
feel, and that's how it was shot in a way to feel like that. It did make me think about how much I remember about 9/11.
I don't remember anything, man. The only thing I remember
2001.
was getting in the car with my dad and my dad
Yeah.
saying there's been something that's happened in America. And I was stuck in traffic the whole way home and it just had the radio on. I don't remember anything else about it. In fairness, my parents kept me really insulated from it.
Mm.
Maybe not intentionally, but that's the only memory I've got of it.
So my mama, Sher Singh, who you know, worked in New York at the time. And so we remember calling him. He was nowhere near. And so he said he was safe. Um, I remember that evening, mum talking about it and just saying, like, just be careful, but not really understanding the context of why mum was saying this. But nothing like what they experienced in the show. Didn't
No.
have any of that at school. I mean,
But we also grew up in heavily immigrant areas, Goran. I was in West Brom, you were in Warsaw. I think we were quite insulated by our community.
Just thinking 2001, which school I was in. Yeah, we were insulated. I'm thinking about school specifically and whether we had a lot of non-brown people in school. I'd say it's about 50-50 in secondary school. It was a lot less in primary, but didn't. Yeah. But the reactions, that Kuri basically said, I heard your tata is Osama bin Laden.
Which is mad.
Like,
how could you do that? How's that my fault? Huh?
And obviously, a lot of some of this is hyperbole, right? But
no, you know what? I don't think it is. I think rumors like that start at school and it spreads.
Yeah, then yeah.
Bare people have that. Except the one few time where it's right. Like I think about that kid who was going around school telling people, my uncle's Superman. He was Henry Cavill. He's like, my uncle's Superman. And they're like, no, he's not. No, he's not. Shut up. So then one day he
turns
takes
up.
him to school. And the way he's walking into school, like, aggressively, I'm about to show these balls. He is Superman. Yeah. Sometimes the 1% time it is right. Most of the other time it isn't.
True. Okay.
So let's talk about Neil having his haircut then by his mum.
So Neil's mum. So right. So the rishta here, you've got a mum who's clearly a Gori. Yeah. And then you obviously have the father who is a Kesh Sikh. It's not clear if the Amritari. And then the scene where they're having kind of like a family meeting. Neil is there. He's obviously now his gears cut, and you've got Jasmeet kind of looking in, and then Manvi comes running in, and she's like, "What have you done?" Da, da, da.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done because you had all perspectives. Talking from, why it's important to keep gears, and we're going to talk about that. But then you also had the mother's perspective or parental perspective.
But what I think is mad is how dad or his fucking, I'm getting all the rest mixed up now.
His Fufur. Who's dad?
His Fufur.
Who's dad? Jasmeet's dad?
No. Neil's dad.
Then Neil's dad, yeah, so that's his dad. Yeah.
Okay, Neil's dad.
Yeah.
Stayed with her after all that. I can't lie. If you did that without consulting me, it's over.
Well, interesting.
That to me is a red line. Like, you haven't even discussed it with me. You went and did it. We didn't jointly agree this. You just did it out of your selfish intent. How fucking dare you?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even think of that because
God, imagine if that happened. Okay, at this point, you are about 10 years deep in marriage minimum because the kid has grown up. So you're probably married for a fair chunk beforehand. You understand he's sick. You understand the traditions of the religion to an extent. You understand that he keeps his hair. You understand the significance of it. Jasmeet's done it. Surely you know these little bits and hints, even if you're not fully invested in it, the significance of it. So why the fuck would you go and do that? I know I'm getting animated over a show, but still, that's crazy behavior.
So to her point, it's between that and my son could get killed. I choose having a live son. That's her point.
Okay, discuss that with your co-parent then, and get them to agree so that they can tell Jasmeet's parents what's happened, so that they're ready for it. Not just he brings his wife and his son over to his sister's house, and then they chastise them in front of everyone.
You taking a bigger point with the fact that she didn't discuss with the husband, or the fact that the case was cut?
Look, the guest being cut is a parental decision for them, isn't it? Right? In that situation, that's up to you two and how you both feel because the sensitivity is high.
And the child?
However, huh?
And the child's views?
You have to ask the kid as well if he wants it like that. If he does or doesn't, then that's a problem. But they didn't show that either. Neil just kind of is. He hasn't really got a voice in that moment.
Yeah. But again, really good acting. He's just like, I'm being told what to do. He obviously didn't enjoy the bullying either. But it's not clear.
No,
yet
but
how
he
much
was
of it
bullied
was
up until
more-
that point.
He was. There was that scene on the basketball scene where someone grabs his jewel off.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're only seeing snippets. It might have been a lot more. We don't know what the timelines are between that and then it happening.
I was always told if anybody grabs your jewelry, you have full permission to go nuts. And I did a couple of times. So, yeah. I wasn't an unhinged kid, but I pushed back if somebody touched my jewelry because mum, dad always said to me, if anybody does that, you have a full right to push back and fight back if anybody does that to you.
All right, here's a question for you then. And just for the viewers on the camera, just Indy does have his jewelry. It's just,
Yes, Gordon. Yes, I do.
hidden
Yes.
position. Give us a side swift. Just give us a little. There we go. Right. So when you were growing up, what meant that you kept your jewelry?
I had my parents and my brother to keep me in that kind of mode.
No, go deeper. You're seeing them, fine, and that's normalized. My dad has a pug, he has gears. Bal has a pug, he has gears. But was it just like they have it, so I have it, or was there more?
That's a solid foundation, isn't it? You see what's around you. You want to look like them. That's how you feel at home. Going to the Gurdwara, being in West Bromwich, which is a heavily Sikh community area, you don't feel like you're different. If I was growing up in where my parents live now, which is a very white area, I would feel very differently about it. Unless I was going to the Gurdwara every weekend and I was surrounded by other Gay study kids, right? So it's a bit of a different feeling.
So what you're saying is community and Sangat were really important.
I really think it was to me, if you think about it in that way,
Okay, and that's beautiful, right? So I can see what I see and that's normal to me. I'm surrounded by lots, so I don't feel stuck out. But the actual, why do we have gays? Did you question that?
No, I never questioned it. I liked it, man. I think my mum did a great job of making me feel special by having my hair. She used to look after it. She used to put Dale in my hair every week. I used to look forward to that. It would turn into like a little head massage. Like exactly. All those little things. Like it just makes you feel like you're having that nice moment with your parent. And you never lose that feeling. And my nanny was doing it as well. Or like when I was drying my hair on the radiator, I'd dry it on the radiator next to my dad, but he was a lot taller, so his hair would fit and mine wouldn't. And then I'd get off because my hair was too hot. Like all those little moments are core memories for me and they're stuck in my head. But I don't think of it any differently.
Made me think of so when we went to India every year to visit our Nanake, and basically in the morning, so Nani's rule was all kids have to be washed, dressed, just smart, ready for the day, right? And so when mom used to comb my hair, it was like fine. But if Nani ever saw you and you hadn't had your bal tied, she's like, come here and do it. And Nani's hat, like, head there and then
Kitchke.
Yeah. Just, and you obviously couldn't flinch, right? So I was like, Mom, it needs to be done before Nani sees me. Because my cousin,
Nani's revenge.
My cousin, Param, you met Param at the wedding, his mama Sida Munda. It's like he didn't have any pain receptors. He'd sit there like ulja, like he had the knots and everything. And Nani's taking him out, and he's just there like looking at his nails, like, bro, how are you not screaming in pain? Like you just like dead inside. Like, how are you doing this? Still a joke to this day. All right, so but now we're present day, right? You're grown up Indy.
Yeah.
You have the ability to think and appreciate and understand. Why do you keep it now?
Again, it's a core part of me and who I am and my identity. I still enjoy having my gears. I enjoy having my hair kept. I never want to cut it. It's such a fundamental part of me. Like I always think that if unfortunately one day I fall ill and I have to cut my hair because I have like a tumor or something like that, or I've got cancer and my hair's falling out.
So that's like, yeah, I was going to say that second bit is probably more relevant. If somebody has chemotherapy, you're not cutting your gears.
No. I'm just talking about gears in general, either falling out or being
losing it in general. You mean
losing it in general, right?
Yeah.
So if I have a tumor and it needs to be operated on, they have to cut through. They're taking a chunk of your head out, right? So I'm like, okay, I have to think about that. That I think that would break my heart more than anything else. You know how there was that story of that uncle who was in the hospital and he had his daddy forcibly cut, but he couldn't speak properly because he
No
was a stroke
consent.
victim, I think it was.
Yeah, there was no consent.
And they could just see the pain in his eyes. I was like, no, I understand that because that's never happened to him before.
Mm.
And if somebody did that to me, or if that had to happen to me, that would break me in two, honestly.
And with something like that, unless you're somebody who doesn't have capacity, advanced dementia, something like that, which is very unlikely, we then go ahead and operate anyway. But given if you have capacity, it's for you to decide whether you want to or don't want to do that.
To be fair, I'm balding, innit? So I'm like, just go for the bald spot and go through there. I can cover the rest. It's cool. So I'm hoping that that's an access point for a tumor operation. Anyway.
Okay, you are mentioning tumor way too many times. Like, just
it's
stop.
True,
it's not. Why is it true? Stop mentioning it. And you're very specific about the tumor, brain tumor, brain tumor.
I'm just saying.
Just stop it, okay?
Okay.
I think coming back to that scene, what the other side were trying to point out, which no, we're talking about India, Pakistan. There's a war going on, right? It's easy to forget what was given for us to have this case. That's really important. And I'm going to deep that for like a minute just to make sure everybody understands that. But the number of shahidiyan, the number of qurbaniyan, the number of sacrifices that have been made in Sikh itihas for this case, probably one of the best examples by Taru Singh Ji. Now, this is the famous photo. If you're growing up and you went to the UK Gurdwaras and you
Bro, we saw it everywhere.
Right? So you know exactly, right? By Taru Singh on the floor like this. I'm like this, head is up, and you see the guy, the executioner, is holding, so he's cut off
scalp.
Babaji's khopri. Because Babaji did this. So when this Shahidi was happening and they were torturing Babaji, they said, what is the most valuable thing to the Sikh? How can we humiliate the Sikh the most? Take that away from him. And so Babaji did an ardas. He goes, Maharaj, jo hove. But meri case nahi totni jaave. It should not be cut. And what they say is that when they tried with the shears and everything to try and cut that case, it was like lohe ban gaya. It was like steel. They could not cut the case. Oyani. And finally, so you saw they took Babaji's scalp off, they lifted it. So the scalp is off, but the hair is not cut. And Taru Singh's there. Now, the other side to the story that nobody remembers is, I forget his name. I want to say it's Wazir Khan or Zakir Khan. Basically, the person who had ordered the execution or the torture to happen, he then was not able to pass any urine. This happened. He could not pass urine. And he asked Bhai Taru Singh Ji, what has happened here? And basically, this was a game of karma. He goes, you've done such a big zulm. You've done something so bad. This is your saza. He said to him, if you want to pass urine, take your jutti and smack yourself on the head. So he started doing this and he kept smacking himself on the head. And when he smacked himself on the head, a bit of peshab would come out, But obviously, there's a lot of peshab to come out and he couldn't, that was the only way he could wee. And he did it so much that he died from smacking himself in the head. And Bhai Taru Singh survived for 6 days, even after his corporate was cut. So that's the first example of case. Second one, always remember. So in the month of December, we remember the Shahidiyan, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's 4 sons. Maharaj's 2 chote sahibzade, Baba Fateh Singh, Baba Zorawar Singh, age 5 and 7. When they stood there and they said, we will not give up our Sikhi, we will not cut our case, tusi sanu maar do, but we will not give up our Sikhi. For me, if a 5 and 7-year-old can give everything for their Sikhi, then how can we not, value the things that have been given to us? And I, like you, man, like it breaks my heart when I see young people growing up, and it can be difficult, right? And I understand that this need to fit in, but I almost feel like if you get through this bit, and you become a little bit older, and you've kept this case, this is going to be the most invaluable thing to you.
There's something beautiful on the other side of it. Yeah.
There is something beautiful. And finally, from a purely spiritual side, when you learn about Sikhi, and this goes back to schools, and you learn about the Panchakakar and why Sikhs have case, and so Maharaj says, I'm going to give you the form of a lion, the Santa Sapai, the saint soldier. So like a lion has a mane, we keep our case, it's like a mane, right? So the body of a lion. And so identity is important, and we have this very distinct sroop. But the deeper side, outside of identity, from an actual Sikh spirituality point of view, is when you do Simran, when you sit there and do Vaheguru, 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 your case, every pore in your body, whether it's hair, becomes a Naam receptor. You vibrate with 350 million pores. This is written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Every pore, when you get to high levels of meditation, starts to japanam. There are stories of Mahapurush Brahmgyani saints who had done so much part, bhakti, Indy, that if you got close to their skin, you put the ear next to the skin, you can hear Vaheguru, Vaheguru coming from each of these pores. And the kids ask me about this, right, when I tell them this thing. And I say, look, listen, I can describe all this stuff to you, but just go and experience it. Do your Simran. When you have your case and your case is long, it will be amplified. Then tell me how much more you feel connected to Rab. That's the deeper reason for having case.
Well summarized. Now, when I watched that scene of the young Jasmeet being bullied, Neil not standing up for him, which I understand because Neil just wants to fit in at that point. He's finally been accepted. He probably doesn't know how to push back and back his cousin.
The basketball scene.
I get it. I get it. At first I was annoyed. Secondly, looking back at it, I thought, no, I understand. He's finally just been in the in crowd. He's got the girl interested in him. Makes sense. But you see the inverse flip where he's now the one that's ostracized when he's in the family. He's left out. Jasmeet is embraced by his family, having his bug tied professionally in not professionally, but for the first time in a Gurdwara. Yeah. Big moment. But that flip where 1 minute he's thinking of himself in the barber seat, and the next minute you see the transition of that into him having the ceremony. Whoa. That was a massive change in feeling for me. So much so that at the end of the episode, I had to pause it and I cried, man, because that really hit me. And Sam said to me, why did that hit you so much?
Why?
Because I've never felt the compulsion to cut my hair or be pushed to the point where I wanted to go to a barber's, imagine myself in the seat, thinking about it being cut and then having that done. I've never had that consideration. So for a kid to be driven to that point really hurts me inside.
Like I said, because there is that point, right? I'm going to be really honest. I never had that point. I don't think you had that point, but I know
didn't either. No.
It is a very, very common thing. But just beyond that, and the thing you see, when you were talking there about the flip, I thought you were talking about present day Neil, because coming back to his poetry slam, he's like, I don't know who I am. Like he's just, there's that bit where he's eating food and he runs away like a madman. He's clearly high on something. Like he's just so lost.
I got a good book for him. It's called Both Not Half by Jasar Aluwalia. He should read it.
He should read it, yeah. But he's very, very lost. What I was going to show to the camera after watching the scene is I actually have a clip, a really rare clip, if you keep talking, of my Dastar Bandi of Little Karan.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
I never had this happen. I never had the ceremony. I just learned how to tie off a mate at uni. Because my dad tried to tie his bug on me and it looked really uncomfortable and it was too big for my head and I didn't like it. But I think if I had it crisply tied in the way they just meet it, I probably would have appreciated it more.
Do you want me to hold to the camera?
Of course you can. No way, man. That does not look real.
Yeah. So this is like really, really rare footage. That's 2:30 on the 12th of May, 1996, just before my birthday.
You were 5 years old?
Yeah, the 6 years old. Oh yeah, 5 years old, yeah. The Babaji tying the star as a Mahapurush. So it's a really, really rare recording.
5 years old, man. That's mad.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, wow. Like, I remember.
I know you want us to talk about parents today who have opted to cut their kids' hair. That's a big thing for you. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, and I'll caveat, it's not coming from a place of judgment. I'm a parent now, albeit not to a boy, but it's more from I want to understand where it comes from. And I want to understand, is it child driven? Is it parent driven? you know, the same way we talked about people when I went to that comedy show and someone said, oh, well, I'm naming my child this because I want their life to be easier. So you're kind of making that decision. Think of something that potentially may or may never happen. So I just want to understand the perspectives, right? Like child and parent, and but more so the parent is kind of where I'm sitting on.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents will point to just having a tough life in general, and therefore they don't want to put their kid through any of the same commotion they went through. Other layers could be the kid's not enjoying having their hair kept. Every day feels like a burden for them. They aren't enjoying having their hair combed in the morning, having it tied up, it coming loose, the jura, etc. It's just not meshing well with them. And then the other layer I feel is parents will say, I feel like I forced this on them. I didn't give them a choice. And I'm doing it for my own vanity reasons when I myself don't even practice Sikhi properly. So why would I push that on my kid?
So the questions I'd ask on your point 2 and point 3. Point 2, you said there was like the daily routine and that kind of thing. Do you think that's a lack then of teaching in terms of why this is
I don't know, bro.
important and Sikhi?
You have to ask the parents, innit?
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm not putting it on you. I'm just saying. I'm saying if you take an active interest in teaching about our history, our Sikh history, not leaving it to Gurmat classes at the Gurdwara, just that, right? I mean, in the same way, when you speak to any teachers, they'll say, look, the school is a school, but you need to put in work at home. Teachers will say that. Then when it comes to Sikhi, right, there has to be some knowledge exchange. So I feel part of that is, well, then they just don't understand why they're doing it. And it just seems a bit like outdated. And it's like, well, yeah, then maybe I get it. I'm like, well, why in it? Like, there's no value placed on it. That's that point. And the third point you said, what was it about vanity? Yeah, maybe about. I understand the point you're making, but most of the time, parents are like, I might not be doing something, but I want the best for my kids. In every other situation, I don't understand that situation where they'll be like, well, if I'm not doing, then they shouldn't do it. No, you'd be more like, well, I'm not practicing. I'm going to really try and get to them to practice. Like, if this is good for them. That would kind of be my position. What do you mean when you say sometimes parents, the decision thing? Like, how do you give a child the decision about whether they should keep kesh?
So there's a bit of a crossroads point, right? Where some people either feel really strongly about it or some don't at all. For those that don't practice Sikhi at all and they're not massively into it and they feel disconnected, but they've kept their hair because that's a part of them. You could say someone like me. I'm not saying I feel this way, by the way.
Yeah.
They might think, am I being a hypocrite by forcing that on my kid when I myself am not practicing Sikhi in the right way? I have my guess for legacy reasons. I don't really know if it's the right choice for my kid to do that. Whereas our parents were probably more spiritual, more intact, more likely to go to the Gurdwara, had a deeper community, had a deeper sense of people around them who were looking the same, feeling the same way. And therefore, it's easier to kind of justify.
But see, what you're describing in that latter point about the elders then is their intentionality.
No. I think people get this mixed up a lot, and I need to check this, right?
Go.
It's not intentionality. It's we all came here and we all lived in the same spaces so we could all be together in the poorest places. That's what it came to. Now we're all well-to-do about ourselves and we've moved into different areas. That's not there anymore. So you sacrifice that community space. I don't think the intentionality was, oh, we're all going to move together and be as one and all that stuff. I think it just came as a consequence of the situation where you migrated over here.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I understand your point there about community, but at the same time, there still has to be conversations about Sikhi. That's intention. You don't just randomly start talking about Sikhi or go into the Gurdwara. It's not like
there is
given.
But I wouldn't say that my parents sat me down and said, this is X, Y, and Z about Sikhi. I picked it up over time.
Not you. I'm talking about them lot. Why they had more ekta. I'm saying, what was VG's name who came on the podcast talking about restoration of Gurdwara and Resham? Yeah. What Resham was saying, remember he was saying that the big problem we're facing now in the Gurdwara is there are diminishing numbers in our generation who are there to do the seva for role, to read Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj for counterparts of. Whereas in the previous two generations, like just no doubt they would do it, pick up the seva. It was just a thing. And that's where I think it comes down to, you're saying you were kind of around it, and you have lots of trauma from Sikhi camps and going to the
No, I had jokes at
Colosseum,
Sikhi
but not
camps,
going
man.
not
I
going to
had
the
jokes there,
Colosseum.
man. I had great jokes. In hindsight, looking back on it, some of them were a little bit traumatic, but I have great stories for years to tell people.
You had great degrees of seva, which we won't talk about now.
Which we will never speak about publicly, but yes.
Yeah, and you went to Matha Teka at the Colosseum, but didn't go inside. So, but we rectified that, Indy. We gave you closure.
We did. You gave me closure.
We had a moment of silence when we went to Colosseum a few years ago.
But I think it's difficult for parents now to justify it with themselves and why they're bringing up a kid with or without their case. Every decision's individual. If anybody wants to DM us and let us know their experiences, genuinely no judgment. I think it's a lot of, we just want to understand and try and see
perspectives,
where that's coming from and what your perspective on it is. Because I guarantee if we ask 10 parents why they did it, they'll all have 10 different reasons. It will not be the same. It's all driven by a different motivation.
And on the other side, the parents whose kids have kept case and they wanted to keep case, what advice do you have? What ways have you inspired your kids to teach them the value and the relevance, obviously Sikhi as a whole, but case specifically? I'd love to hear that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, that's that on that episode.
Yep.
That to me was my favorite episode of the series because it hit me more in the feels.
Okay. The next episode got to me.
The funeral one.
You know what it was as well? The funeral one, because I've been to funerals. Okay, I presume you've been to funerals as well.
Yeah.
The bit where they're dressing the body.
I've never had to do this.
Yeah, exactly the same. And it was so real. Like, okay, the guy conducting it was a bit funny and the holding of the latan, there was stuff like that. But I just assumed that just got done by you're paying for the service. I'm going to be really honest. I did not know that.
Nope.
And yeah, man, that was so real. That was so real. I was just like, that's tough. Tying a dastar on a deceased person.
Like, I don't know how you do it.
Just, yeah, man. That was the episode for me. That was just so real.
How do you tie a dastar on somebody lying down?
Yeah, like you saw that one person was holding their head up.
Yeah, but still, even then, it's like you need somebody to hold it at the front. Normally, it goes in your mouth. Like, so, and the head's moving. There's no resistance. It's so complicated and tricky. Yeah, man, that was real. It was very real. But also, I think they knew you can't make this too real. You got to add the humor in. Yeah, and the humor element was very, very good.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
You need a bit of catharsis in the wailing auntie. The wailing aunties at the funeral. Who are you?
She goes,
were you his lover? Tell me, why are you crying so much?
Well, yeah, because he was unmarried, wasn't he? He was that guy, that Casanova guy, Yogi Singh. That was so funny. And then Manvi, she couldn't stop, could she? She was like, she didn't even know him.
Yo, shout out Manvi, man. She was she had her own good storyline the whole thing. We haven't covered it much.
We will come to her story and her sing. Bloody hell, that
we can talk about it now. So I'm sure there's sayings out there that are that annoyingly stupid. We'll not look after their parents or their in-laws. We'll just leave it to technology and think that'll sort it out. Nepaji, you got to get in there with him.
He's useless. He doesn't even know his slayers.
Yes, exactly.
Just, oh God. And then I'm like, I can't remember again what in season 1 was. It arranged marriage? Like, what was the?
I can't remember.
Right? I was just like, that was just. He's just vain, man. He's like this vain dude, isn't he?
But I'm sure people are like that.
Yeah. There are definitely people in the Bangla scene who are like that.
Why do you have to mention the Bangla scene? You can't just say Bande in general?
Yeah, but I'm thinking of where I've seen people like that most commonly.
Oh,
Bangla scene is where my head goes. Man, there are. I was about to say bare Bande. There were so many Bande who just rock up. Yeah. And you're like, bro, why are you giving it 10, man? Bangla was like 20 years ago. We've moved on. We have lives and kids. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, just banda banda, okay?
It's a Gordini Chalda Hora, and I used to talk about it. Hi.
but I'm real. If you want to have like a Bedka competition, I'm going to story all day, yeah?
Okay, cool. Good for you, Paji. Well done. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Good for Manvi, man. Good for Manvi. Parents
supporting a cause. I like that.
I did
Shout
like that.
out mum and dad for doing that.
And dad with the chilling out, man. Like that was a
Metaphors there, man. Metaphors with the
big
chilling out,
metaphor.
having them
Lord
grow
chilling
up,
out.
let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
Big time. Okay, carry on.
Right, episode 4 done. I think we need to blast through this. Episode 5, using the yoga episode, how they were using elements of Sikhi in their meditation. And then he asked them about it, and they're like, what?
Kitan.
Oh, you mean Keaton?
Yeah. I don't know what she said it, but it was so well done. The name of the package. I recommend for $475 a couple waffle, doubly
The
winey,
flipping
shiny.
packaging of prices high,
Yeah.
Oh, if Upper are that dumb to pay that, slap yourself twice. Swear to God. You can do that at home for free. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, which I guess is his point. But I mean, bro, that's not new, man. You take something which is like authentic to a land and then you just brand it properly. You're like, Arctic, miracle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I love it.
Yeah, the Satnam. Vaheguru.
Vaheguru.
Let the dogs in. What the hell's going on here?
Oh, let the dogs out. You missed a chance there. He should have put that in. That song.
Yeah. So, yeah, that yoga scene was just odd. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty much episode 5 that stood out to me. Episode 6, the student episode. Right. The struggle of Indian students that come to Canada, the UK, and England.
Yep.
Was UK and England? Anyway.
Yep.
Was put together so cleanly in that entire show. The way they executed it, showing how difficult it is for migrants to, first of all, find a job, get accepted, come to the country, the amount they pay to get it, the lack of paise that they have to live off in the country.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
It was so on point. He says at one point, isn't it, when they were having brown hair between their eyes, and he goes, we do all this to get here. We pay 4 times the fees to do online classes. He's not fair, right? And then obviously you hear about the scandal that happens with his missus to be in that scam, right?
When she got scammed by her immigration officer or whatever.
And she says, my daddy ni sare zameen bechti, like everything. There's no more assets, man. This
After
was the
episode with her job, bro, that fucking hurt me, man. Hearing that.
That was the trade-off, right? Like that's it, man. And yeah, man, nothing. Just the reviews, the stealing of his bicycle.
When his bicycle got stolen, I thought this is going to end badly for him because no one's going to believe him.
I thought he was going to die.
I thought no one's going to believe him because if you think about it, he is somebody who was othered from that country trying to get a bike off somebody else in that moment at nighttime. If he showed up with his 2 buddies and they were to go ahead and try and get the bike back off the person who stole it, that would look like, oh, look, they're beating up a local. But instead, the local was beating up the guy and the others didn't intervene and they walked off.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a shit. Okay. Then he goes to the Gurdwara to go and find solace, which in fairness, where else are you going to go at that point, man? You're hungry. You've got no money. You are dying.
Shahi paneer?
Yeah. Very interested. Very interested in the food. Goes to meet Sunny, the truck driver banda, who everybody thought was a bit of a fuddu. But actually, he's a sly motherfucker, that Sunny banda.
Okay, I wouldn't be my choice of word. I'd say he obviously has a business, right? He's in the trucking stuff. Fine. Then he positions the kind of, sounds like basically you be my daku and collect money or whatever the other kam is.
You do my undercover kam. It pays well. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And in that moment, Garan, if all the chips are down, I've lost all my money, I've got nothing happening. My missus is back in India, struggling to get over here. She's lost everything. I can't get another bike. I can't get another job. I've been kicked off my current service place because I had a bad review. What are you going to do? I would take that job too.
And I think that's the point, right? So it's positioning his pain. His pain is so high now. What other options have you got? And then when you try and rationalize in your mind, you're going to like, right, I don't really want to do it. I probably won't do it for long. So let me do it and just until. And obviously, I think that's set up really nicely now for the next season.
If they renew it,
yeah, if they renew it, like what the arc is now and what happens with that. Because that was just too real, man.
But I feel for those students, man.
The students got together, and Kenny talks about this all the time in some of the Gurdwara in London, where they actively the Gurdwara do like langar packages for the students for their lunches and things and their dinners. I think it's really, really good. sometimes we think that langar is only meant for certain people. I mean, we have this idea that langar is for everybody, but then if somebody regularly starts using it, we're like, well, why are you using langar regularly? We judge that, and that's wrong
No,
as
I
well.
never judge that, man. If you want to come and
Absolutely
have
wrong.
it. It's paid for.
Absolutely.
Have it.
Absolutely. And I think, look, the students who are struggling, that's a good thing to do and have.
It's a good way to help them, and I respect them for that. Other thing about international students is I thought it was just a UK Canada thing. It's not. When I went to Dubai, me and Sanj went to the Gurdwara on my birthday because that's what I do. We saw all the taxi drivers were there in the day, and they were all having langar. Like the langar hall was half full. A lot of people were there having their langar, having their food to go back out to work. And I thought, yeah, I understand. I think that's a nice thing, and I don't think that should ever be stopped. And they even showed at that Gurdwara, it said, these are the time slots for langar between these hours on this day. So everybody comes for that time and they leave afterwards.
It's fine. And exactly like you said, if you come in, you respect the laws of Guru Sahib, whoever you are. If you're only coming for, langar, nothing else, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. You're still going to get kirpa on you for having that langar. And that, like you said, that's what it's made for.
I now look at international students with a different lens, man. Or international people who are riding bikes, doing delivery stuff, etc. Yeah, I'm gonna try and tip them more because clearly that's all they live off.
Yeah,
DPD drivers, all the bande who come and do that stuff, man.
Yeah, because again, that episode for me then makes me think about how privileged our upbringing is,
very,
and the problems that we have, which are nowhere near close to those problems.
Yes.
And you see that one scene when he's on the phone to his missus and those guys all saugaged in, sleeping.
Yeah, in that one room.
Yeah, and they're all just there, like half a bed each, basically. Half a mattress each.
Yeah.
Real, man. Struggle is real.
Terrible. Right, episode after that goes to his Rebecca's parents' house.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised with the dad, man. Mas. That's Mas, isn't it, from EastEnders?
Is it the same guy?
Yeah. Look it up, man.
Let me look.
I kept looking at him. I was like, he's obviously put an accent on, but that's Nitin. Name's Nitin something. I want to say.
Let me look.
Nitin Gupta. Famous actor.
Nitin Gantara.
Yeah, that's Mas.
Was it him? I thought it looked like him, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. He's just obviously a bit older, and he's obviously got the accent. That episode was interesting, man. That episode is interesting because it really sets up that last episode, which I never would have seen coming.
One sec. I'm trying to see if it was him. I don't know if it was him. I typed in late bloomer and the AI thing and said, yes, he described himself as a late bloomer.
Who plays Rebecca's dad?
I don't think it was him, bro.
Nah, it's him, man. Get the cast up.
I'm trying, but the cast isn't that clear on IMDb.
Okay, we'll do it afterwards, Tika. Guys, to check out, I think it is. I think it's Nitin G.
Anyway, looks like him. So the acting and the whole scenario of going to a Indo-Christian house was so interesting to me. In the sticks, you see all
they clearly well off.
Moose's heads.
Proper. But then, you got Siddharthi on the wall.
Which is weird.
And you're like, okay, like who's that? Don't know what it is.
Yes.
Then you got, Richard and Tina, something like that. Like proper gaudy names. And he's trying to be like Matthias. That was the same name, isn't it? He's like uncle. And he's like, no, you don't have to call us uncle. And Yes. See, at this point, I didn't realize what their religion was. Or it wasn't clear to me that they were Christian or whatever they were.
I think it was hinted at some point. But yeah, it was pretty obvious that they were not.
Yeah.
From
I understood they weren't
Eastern religions.
Sick. Yeah. But I thought they maybe just secular. They didn't believe in any religion or whatever. But yeah,
it got dark very quickly because they're talking about converting people in Punjab, converting people into Christianity, and how they went on missionary, conversations and missionary journeys, bragging about how many people that they converted on their last trip over, which I think is quite wild. But then when you understand the background of the family, which is they were lower caste, they were not accepted, they were poor, they were outcasted, what choice did they have? And this apparently does happen today. I'm not that well versed on it, but apparently it is more common than we think.
Yeah, Kenny told me this. He said they incentivize it really well.
Yeah.
Like if you're being treated with respect and being given things and included, Why would you not?
You could
Why
tell
would you
Uncle
not?
had a bee in his bonnet though, which is my family were hereditary sick, and now I want nothing to do with you because I don't like anything that you've done or anything that your religion stands for. For example,
But
Jasmeet's
Seva,
talking about Langar and Seva. He's like, well,
yeah.
well, Christians do that. We have community service.
Well, no, I mean his point was fair that yes, Seva existed in Christianity before Sikhi. That's a fair point. Nothing wrong with that.
It did.
It's just it's talked about a lot more in Sikhi. I guess maybe Sikhi's made it a bit more famous and puts it to the forefront. Maybe that's a fair point. Obviously, we have Langar, and most of the world knows about that.
He was taking a much more upper class approach, which is I'm looking down on my nose at you, what you do. You're not, you know nothing about your dad. You are not tight with your parents. He's just really judging him in the same way that he was probably judged by, or his ancestors were judged by others for not being up to standard, in quotes.
Okay. I mean, see, when I'm viewing that interaction between them, I'm not saying I'm better than you because I'm Christian and you're sick. My kind of thing was more, you're not good enough for my daughter. I'm like dad hat. I thought a lot of it was dad hat.
No, I thought of the dad hat, but he's also throwing like a lot of side swipes at Sikhi.
Yeah, side swipes or see if you're a dad, right? Say I've got a daughter, and there's prospective Jawai at some point. You want your Jawai, the person that's going to look after your daughter, they have to stand his ground. You almost don't want somebody who's like a hanji yes person, and you kind of almost do want them to have a bit of a spine. And so then I was like, well, maybe he's just trying to see like how much there is there.
Maybe, but you don't do that in the first interaction. That's not necessary. When someone's coming to your house and they're staying at yours, you can at least be nice to them, respectful, open, kind. Don't be a knob, innit? But that guy was being a top-class knob.
Thinking about the mother-in-law now, innit? When she's like, oh, this is overcooked, everything.
Yeah, she was just overcompensating, playing the flustered wife. She was clearly uncomfortable with the whole situation.
Bro, she's like, can you say grace?
Go on, bro. Please do it. Please.
No, I can't.
Can you say some words? He's like, and I sat there thinking, actually, there are no words for grace before we eat.
No, but I thought he could.
And you're saying it over meat, and there's sharab, like, huh? And in that moment, he's panicking. He's like, well, let me say something. And then he starts, and the guy's like, you about to recite the whole das?
Yeah. And respect, man. He obviously could have said something in Punjabi, like,
but he isn't feeling comfortable in that situation. He's like, okay, I'll go along with them because that's what they want me to do in the house. He's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then Nitin takes over. He's like, why don't we just say Satnam Shri Vaheguru, and then thank you for the food we're about to receive, which is like a standard kind of like grace that you say before food. We say that in school. I don't know if you said that at school.
Oh yeah, we used to say grace at school.
Yeah. We say for what we're about to receive, please.
I can't remember.
Please thank the Lord.
It's been wiped out of my head. Yeah.
Amen. Or something like that. It's good, man. Like it's good. Like it still holds value. I think that's a good thing to do before you eat food. But that was you're not just about to. I thought that was.
He was judging Jasmeet more than I think was necessary.
That's fair. That's fair. I get the dad hat. I think it was definitely too much, but I don't agree with what you're saying about him trying to position Christianity over Sikhi. I think where he got fired about that was the colonization point. Because privately, him and Jessica were like, "You're just the the thingy of colonized India or whatever," and he's like, "Well," and he's right. There are some good things to that, like he talked about the railways, or whatever. But the net side outcome is not.
The fucking railway point. The railways were put there so they could take the loot and transport it. It wasn't for you lot, big man. It was for their own purpose. They just fucking left you with the lines. You thick imbeciles. Sorry.
I love that. Indy.
Jesus Christ, man.
That's a commonly brought point, isn't
I've heard that about 6 times this week.
About the railways.
Jesus.
Where did you get the rebuttal from? Is that a Satnam rebuttal?
No, it's just something that's commonly known. Why would they build a railway? It's not out of benevolence. For their own fucking purpose.
I love that, Indy. Love it.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway.
So then he has that nightcap. He comes upstairs. He's then obviously very quiet with Rebecca. He's not divulging.
And Rebecca's already leaned over to what her dad wants to do, which is great.
Yeah, not running the dance studio. Maybe I should go into business with him. It's obviously safe and secure. fine. But he's like, no, be a maverick like me. That's what he's thinking. He doesn't say it. We're going to the final episode now.
And this is where all the payoffs come. The reuniting with Neil, which is nice. The Chippy's toxic boyfriend, Umer, who finally gets his ass handed to him for sending that dirty picture around. That shit he was doing was controlling horrible behavior, bro. Like airdropping
when
it
they
to
go
himself,
to buy
sending the image, buying the stuff.
dress.
I'm going to buy you this shit.
Appa,
this is for you. You wear this, you wear that because I want you to look like this because you have to look like this. Then making a move in the car, her not accepting, him doing the emotional neglect of withdrawing. Like, fucking classic toxic behavior. But I'm sure that happens more than we know. I said to Sanj, do you know anybody who's like this? She said, no, I don't know anybody that's been through this, but I'm sure there's parallels between what some people have experienced.
Yeah, and I think it is the position of some men and women that if the man is 100% providing everything, then you will do as I say. And
but that's not good. And she tried to push back on that, saying, well, no, we'll fucking go to my house and get something that I want to wear. Because she saw where it was going.
Or I'll pay for it. You know, she said in that thing.
Yeah.
The coat, which was more covered up, she goes, no, I'll pay for it. He's like, you can't afford this, da, da, da. Yeah, you got to be classic, like, we used to have the talks in university about grooming, right? Why is this person giving me a gift?
I felt like she was being groomed, 1,000,000%.
Yeah. What's the intention here? What was the intention? So, and then, so what else in the final episode? Right, I didn't expect. I understood Rebecca's dad's position.
Yes.
Okay,
you didn't expect them to split up?
Like, I'm not going to dilute the thing. And again, I didn't take away when they're having that nightcap. Like he said to her when they finally talked about this is what your dad said, was like, if I don't convert to Christianity, then we're not going to be together. I didn't take that away from that nightcap talk. I thought it was just more, this is what we do. And as long as you can respect it, fair enough. I didn't take that take, but that's fine. That's what they started talking about. But I didn't expect her then to be like, yeah, you need to be Christian. I was like, whoa, was that, mate? That for me was like, where's that coming from? I was
see where the full circle moment comes in now, which is that's all she knows. She wants her boyfriend to be the same thing. But clearly she knew that wasn't a thing, but she was asking him to kind of inadvertently stop wearing a bug, embrace Christianity. And she said to him, you're not even practicing Sikh. You're not even doing this, that, and the other. And he's like, well, I'm still figuring it out. And she said, well, how long is that going to take you? So that's so complicated because if you're a guy who's doing that, how do you get through that process and emotion and relay that to somebody successfully? You keep a guess, but you trim your dari, but you wear a bug, but you're also eating meat and you drink. What? There's so many inconsistencies.
Well, no, but there's so much grey. I think that's the thing.
There's grey, but he can also say, I'm not a practicing Sikh, but I've been raised Sikh. That's fair. That I think is a nice middle. I'm sure there's people who are Christian who are raised Christian but aren't practicing. That's fine.
Which is true. I guess. Yeah. I guess it's just because of the Sikh identity. Like if you're a non-practicing Christian, you're a practicing Christian, you might look exactly the same. Like there's not much to distinguish between you. Whereas as a Sikh, like it can be very. Because she's like, well, yeah, if you're not practicing, then you might as well just be like a Monna, basically. That's what she's saying. And he brings up the point, which is right. Jesus taught this, Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught this. He's like, why can't we both coincide? Guys. Yeah, why can't we both coincide with these principles of love? I just didn't expect it, and I thought she would have just cooled down and be like, "Yeah, I embrace you for who you are."
No, I think it's obvious, man. That at that point he knew it was done.
And then he goes to Gurdwara and he meets Neil, and Babaji's not breathing.
Forget that. The guy in front saying, "Chup karke bheja darbar sahib de vich." Yeah, and turns around, hello. And that's happened a few times. I've seen that in the Gurdwara. Uncle getting righteous, gets a call off his mate Labbi. Yeah, answers the phone. Labbi kitna? Yeah, in the Gurdwara. I've seen that, man.
Does CS Cohn condone that behavior?
I've heard my dad's phone ring in the Gurdwara because he doesn't know how to put it on silent. And then he's answered it. He's done what I did to get out, and then goes out, and then cool. Hello.
Hanji.
hello.
Hanji.
Yeah.
Hanji. Pradhan bol rahe hain. Hanji.
Yeah, that's that.
He's in the church at the end, and he's like that photo
God
of Jesus.
Cock block.
Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. That was really well done.
True. Great show, man. Jasmeet, shout out to you. Shout out to Russell Peters for being the EP on it as well.
Was he?
I
didn't
wonder
see
how
that.
much Russell.
Didn't
Yeah,
see
so
that.
this was the project. Remember when Russell was?
I knew they were going to do something together, but I didn't realize.
This is
I
it.
didn't. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, okay,
Bloomer.
this is it.
I'd
Okay.
like to know how much Russell had an impact on Late Bloomer season 2. I wonder if he was really closely involved, if he had any conversations with Jasmeet, if he gave a different opinion or view from an Indo-Christian point of view that maybe we don't know about. I don't know if Russell's Christian, but
I think he is.
he's not. He is?
I think he is, yeah.
Then in which case, he probably gave a really good insight there for Jasmeet to write something off and to bounce ideas off him.
Yeah.
Good perspective, maybe some good writing in there, man. Also, the argument that you have with him and his missus, Rebecca, that got dark pretty quick, man. Escalated fast.
But
But
again,
also, I sat there and I was
real
like,
argument. Real
yeah, I've said some stuff like that before. Yeah, I've said something like that before. Yeah.
It's big man,
Tit
eh?
for tatty. Listen, Gordon, we've all done it. Tit for tat shit, it happens, man.
Big man, and I'm waiting for the day we have ours on it. Yeah, big man.
We nearly had ours the other time, but you back down,
bruh.
Listen,
bruh.
usly Josh stepped in. Yeah, I'm kidding. My father-in-law did not step up. Anyway, so yeah, great show. Shout out Jasmeet. Shout out everybody who made it. Season 3 comes soon. If you're asking how we watched it, there were many links online. That's all I'm going to say.
That's it.
Find it yourself.
Yeah.
Bus.
Angie.
Okay. On to the other main story of the week. We are 1 hour and 11 minutes in. Sorry for those that jumped this far ahead, but here you go. Diljit Dosanjh at the Met Gala. Right, Gordon, you said I don't like him and all this stuff. Not true. It's just there's certain bits where I thought we were kind of glazing him a little bit too much. However, this is a pivotal moment, so much so that when I woke up the morning of the Met Gala and I was looking at my phone, Sanj said to me, I'm just going to warn you now, my whole timeline, every story is filled with him and what he wore. And I thought, okay, sweet. End of the evening, I thought my explore page was 50% him, 50% other things. I thought I've never seen anything like this. This is actual crazy impact. Crazy impact.
Yeah. Man sitting there with Shakira, man. Okay.
Bro, Shakira, fair play.
Shakira, who's the other one? Nicole Scherzinger.
Yes. I wonder how he was communicating with him. I think he used his phone, but I don't know if you were allowed to use your phone or not.
No, I agree with you. I think he can speak English.
I think he can too.
I think he can. I would have loved, like when you went there, but in Birmingham, when you went, Ed Sheeran aa gaya? Like, like, Shakiri, but team not life. He didn't, when he does his vlogs, when he does the voiceovers.
Yeah.
And he talks really fast, like of his day and stuff. I loved him. Beti hai ek paase Shazinger, jidda hunda na Zinger meal, KFC vich. Beti meri Shakiri. Like, I think it would have been really funny. But, bro, like, no one comes even close, man. And this, I'm going to say this right now. If you're a young Singh, look at the swag of the start, man. There's nobody comes close. Right?
The start of being tied differently is done wonders for him over the years. Okay.
Yeah, okay, fine. You're the star style should match your face, and that is a point to be made. But you look at, there are very, very, very famous people there. There's pictures of Madonna, Kim K, all this stuff. Nothing, man. No one looks royal, right? I remember a story. Obviously, I wasn't there, but my mama took my Nanaji, his dad, to Vegas. And at the time, Nanaji couldn't walk as much. So he's predominantly in a wheelchair. And for whatever reason that evening, my mama was wearing a tux. I think he'd been somewhere else. So mama's in a tux, pushing Nanaji in a wheelchair. He's obviously wearing the star. And people there, this is like back in the day, and people thought he was like some royal, prince of somewhere. And they were like coming over, like take pictures and matha taking and stuff. And it's just, even now, like my dad would go some places and it's like, you have at the start, it goes a long way. People they just think you are royal, right? But the way he carried it, I said to Shindy, I was like, man, just I was like, this guy, like, white is very, obviously the Maharaja. Oh yeah, Shah, man, Maharaja Patiala, man, putting Patiala on the map, baby. That's right. Royal city in the house.
Who's Maharaja Patiala?
Bhupinder Singh Ji.
No. What's the significance behind him here?
So the look he had. You didn't see the side by side.
I'm getting you to explain to people that don't know it.
Oh,
I'm giving you a layup here, but yeah, sure, go ahead.
Slam dunk karta mein. So guys, if you look at the outfit, it's very heavily inspired by Maharaja Patiala, Bhupinder Singh Ji. And we'll talk about the contention about the necklace. You want to talk about that now?
In a sec, carry on.
Yeah. And so just heavily inspired by that, and he just rocked the look, man. Obviously, what was I thought was very unique, the bit on the back. Talk about the bit on the back, Indy.
So the map of Punjab on his back, but only the India side of Punjab, and the Gurmukhi alphabet.
No, I don't think it was India side. It looked like the full Punjab.
Was it the full Punjab?
Yeah. The shape. The one that thing he's got in his neck.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, it is.
No. You're right.
No, it's the India side.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
It
just
is the
thinking about
India
shape.
side.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking about? Humble the Poet.
Yeah, you're thinking about Humble's one, which
Humble's got the full
is
one.
bigger. Yeah.
It's got like the two wings. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
carry on. Yeah.
So, Gurmukhi alphabet on the back. Respect.
Bro. Who does that?
Much love for that. People were getting triggered though, weren't they, Karan?
Right.
I hate this man. Was he representing India or his Punjab? And then someone threw up a picture afterwards of him and Shakira saying Punjab. And I keep crying.
Look, Diljit's just on a whole world tour. Whenever he's on tour, including and especially in India, he salutes the flag. Like he says, Mera Desh is India. Like he is not shitting on India at any point.
He changes lyrics for some states, for God's sake. All right? Come on, man.
Yeah, right? He's just saying, in India, I am proud to be Punjabi. There is nothing wrong with that, right? So it's not that he's not patriotic. That's Pehli gal. Second gal, give shout out to Amrik, who sent us a message. Please discuss this point.
We will discuss that in a minute.
Right.
Okay, come on. I've just had this from Sanj.
Okay.
Sanj just sent me this breaking news. Vogue readers' favorite 2025 gala looks. Number 1 is Diljit Dosanjh. The readers loved it. That's what I'm saying. He went against the dress code, but Baji, he may never get invited again.
Oh, there's a dress code. Or was it black?
Yeah, there was a dress code. Yeah, I thought it was like had to be black color, but no, it's meant to be inspired by black design.
Okay, I don't know how you did that, but yeah, worth it, man.
Inspired by black designers or something like that, to have that kind of tinge on it. He just read it and interpreted it to mean something else. Sorry if I butchered that, people, but yeah, he didn't adhere to the dress code, but I don't think anyone cares, bro. If you got number 1 rated, then Lelo, innit? Lelo. Anyway, people were saying, I hate this man. Other people were then saying, if you look at this, let me find it. New York Times says Diljit Dosanjh brings Punjab to the red carpet. Republic, which is a newspaper brand in India, says Met Gala debuted Ya West Delhi Ki Barat Diljit Dosanjh Shirwani look spots meme fest. I don't know how you can find memes out of this, but okay, chalo, enjoy. I love Diljit Dosanjh. Why is he dressed like Dullah Dosanjh? I don't get it.
Okay.
Anyway, people were not happy in India because, putting your home state on the map is a bad thing, Karan. You should be only talking about the Indian state, not your sub-state.
Sounds like they want him to be dressed in an India flag. That made him happy?
That would be it, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone on Twitter, Lajat James, the guy I follow, great account. He said, some people will always complain and cry no matter what. Indian nationalists are triggered that the Punjab map and Gurmukhi outfit, while other up and out triggered by Diljit donning a Kalgi and Kirpan in his hands. Unfortunately, there are miserable folks everywhere. Now you can talk about the post that we were sent by Amrik Baji on Instagram saying this that has apparently been circulating in many WhatsApp groups, Sikh mom groups, whatever it is. The Kalgi only belongs on our guru, which is why we do not adorn it. I'm so sick of the Kirpan being used as a prop. Punjabis need to recognize that Diljit does not represent Sikhi. Are we that desperate for representation in white spaces we turn our backs on Sikhi principles?
So here's the point. Because Diljit has so much impact and reach, the de facto position is that he has to be the perfect Sikh. He's not at any point saying, let's use the Pope as an example. He's not saying, I'm the representative of Sikhi. He is saying, I happen to be Sikh and I am famous and I have reach. So I think people have this issue with that. They're expecting of him. So the people say comments like that. What do you want? You want him to be a full Amritari Singh who stays in full rat and then does everything. And they just what they want in that position, right? Rather than him just accepting him for what he is. I thought about the Kalgi. So yes, So a common synonym. So when we come back to the Ardas and we talk about Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, we'll often say Kalgiyan wale in remembrance and pyar that Maharaj used to wear Kalgi. My understanding is that the Kalgi existed pre Guru Sahib.
It did exist before Sikhi. It was a mark of royalty.
In the same way, turbans, paggan existed pre Dastana.
And Karpanna.
Which we've talked about. And Karpanna. Well, yeah, Karpanna, obviously, that one's a bit more complicated because as a Sikh, we have a different, in the same way you have a different
maybe not Karpanna, swords.
Swords existed, very long time. We have a different relationship as a Sikh with Shastra. That's a different thing. So the Kalgi, him wearing a Kalgi predates it. I haven't really got an issue with that. When we come back to Nand Karaj, yes, it is a point. Depending on the Gurdwara, you either the sisters will take off your Kalgi in the car park or after you went to take in front of Guru Maharaj. Absolutely agree with that.
I took mine off before I went in the Gurdwara. I didn't want to wear one, but my mum got it for me. So she wanted me to wear it. Fine, I'll wear it.
Okay. And then the Kirpan itself. Yeah. Do you think it was a prop?
No, I don't think it was a prop. I think it looked great.
Okay.
Okay. Hear me
what was
out.
the need is what people say.
Why can't you? If you're rocking the look of somebody who was the Maharaja of Patiala, he probably walked around with a kirpan, no?
That's it. That's the answer, isn't it?
And this is all fashion, and fashion is allowed to be
expressed,
blurred a little bit. Fine. And if there's anybody who should be wielding a kirpan, it's him. Would you rather somebody who was white doing that? Or is it not allowed by anybody and you must only be Amritari and therefore you can only do that? In which case, why do we allow people to hold a kirpan on a wedding day when they aren't Amritari Sikh either? Explain that to me.
Which is also fair.
Why do we allow people to buy kirpan offhandedly wherever they want and take it home and do what they want with it? Like, how deep do you want to go with this?
This is the point. That you can't. It sounds like, again, he's on a certain
stage. It sounds
stage.
elitist. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. We're going to judge him because we're in a position to judge him, but everybody else just gets a free pass.
Yes.
And again, big picture, right? So going back to it, putting Punjabis on the map, putting Gurmukhi Akhar on the map.
Yes.
Showcasing the star. He's not trying to be the perfect Sikh. He's not saying he's the perfect Sikh. He's not the leader of the Sikh Panth. He's not said that either. Stop conflating these things and saying that he's now speaking for Sikhi. He's not. He's really not.
Yes.
But if you're a layman banda who knows nothing about Sikh people and you're like, oh, Diljit, and that makes you want to then go and learn about Sikhi, great, man. Absolutely great.
That guy on the carpet, just like that, #1 best dressed. Met Gala, what? Exactly. Right, the necklace. Let's talk about the contentious necklace.
Cartier inspired. Yeah.
Number one, if it wasn't for ramblings of a Sikh, I would have bought into the same agenda. The agenda was the Cartier necklace that was thought to be worn along with the outfit that Diljit was wearing was denied to Diljit. He could not wear it because Cartier would not give it up. And therefore, they are racist. They gave it to a Gauri in 2022 for her Met Gala appearance. They gave her a different Cartier necklace. How dare they? Rah, rah, rah. Okay. Ramblings then unpicked this and said, all right, let's look at this properly. Number one, this so-called necklace that was worn by the Maharaja of Patiala, we don't know if it still exists anymore in its purest form. He thinks the one that is on display at the V&A right now may not actually be the one that was rediscovered. They might have kept that hidden and put something else out there.
Yeah.
A replica, which is completely fine. Now, to get something out of a museum and to then be given it to somebody for a night and then put it back in is not possible. This ain't Hollywood. You can't do that in a film. Sorry, you can do that in a film. This is real life. You can't do that shit. Stuff like this is guaranteed years in advance via insurance, loans, people handling it with museums, etc. It is not simple. On a request, they're not going to give that to you because that is a lot of ball ache for them. And for what? People know who Cartier is. They know what they are. They know where they're from. They know what they're about.
Yeah.
This is not relevant to them. So no, he wasn't denied wearing the necklace. Yeah. That's the other point. Last point on this. If you really want to read about this, Ramblings has put it all out on his Instagram in 3 different posts. what he's saying is the choker that was worn by Emma Chamberlain was worn by Maharaja Yavinder Singh, who is the son of Maharaja Bhupinder Singh, which was sold back to Cartier. It wasn't also stolen. Another layer to the story. So it's not as simple as people think. Just please read into things properly, because I got caught into rage bait and I thought, okay, if it wasn't ramblings of a sick, I would have been angry too. However, people like him are doing the Lord's work, swear to God, because I would have bought into that so fast.
Fact checking, man. Yeah.
That is hardcore fact checking by ramblings of a sick. Yeah. What he wrote on Twitter, here we go. Diljit wasn't denied the necklace due to cultural appropriation or because they didn't want a brown face wearing it. If anything, the marketing value of him wearing it would have been huge. The real reason, which many are overlooking, is that the necklace is on display at the V&A. Having spoken to curators on the podcast and knowing the logistics of moving artifacts in these institutions, it's no surprise, especially on short notice, that they said no. It's also clear the jewelry that he did wear was heavily inspired by this piece.
Yep.
Bang.
Yeah. And everything being said, like, didn't Mari's look? He killed him, man. Like, it didn't.
He didn't need it, man.
Oi.
He did not need it.
Yeah. But really, you need to release some of the table chat, man.
I don't know if he
I'm
can.
telling you, man. Diljit, man, he must have been dropping it, man. Did गाने बड़े मैनू घैंट लगदे हैं.
Oh God! I wonder how many people looked at him like, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?"
Nah, man. Post Coachella, they know.
No, they really don't know. You don't understand how self-absorbed a lot of these celebrities are. They do not know.
Who did Shakira did a video, didn't she? When she's talking about Doge in the back.
Yeah. Because she was in the same little ride or whatever it was with him.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But I don't think Lewis Hamilton knows who Dilge was. Maybe until that evening, if he saw what he was wearing.
Yeah, maybe. There's a clip of, this is unrelated, but recently at Riyadh season, AJ. Have you seen him dancing? The goat.
Nope.
First that clip, goat comes on. And he's there like. AJ's killing it, man. Everybody loves that Punjabi music, man.
Punjabi?
Yeah.
Punjabs, is that everything that I had to say on this?
I think it's been a great episode. Ho gaya, huh?
I think that was everything Dilge related. Yes. Good job. I'm proud of you, Diljit Dosanjh. Keep going. Keep helping us out, yeah? Giving us the layup while we dunk it down.
I'm going to say the last point that he said to us that we saw him say on stage, which was he wants to see how to stage te is dunya de vich Punjabi shamal hona chahida. And I wholeheartedly, in the pursuit of what we're doing on this podcast, will try and do that when we take this. Yeah, he's inspiration, man.
I don't know if we'll be allowed back into India, but yes, sure. Okay. Good job. Good job.
Zoom kar lene na.
Mainly because we put up one thing today saying how Punjab is going to be very affected. And everybody starts jumping in saying, what about the other border states? What about this? You know nothing. Did you not know Pakistan bombed Harmandir Sahib? What? Like, all these mad conspiracies, you don't know anything. A quick Google will answer this. Did you not see this on Twitter? And I thought, hi, Miri Ma, man. Relax, bro. Indians want the war. We will have the war. Okay. Jo marji, man. Whatever makes you happy and helps you sleep at night. Sheesh. Anyway, people, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Shout out Jasmeet. Shout out Diljit. Probably the biggest week in Punjabi content spaces that we've seen in a very long time. Very proud. Our hearts are very full. Long may the brown community in general go further, because, hey, it may be good for Punjabi people, but it's also good for brown people in totality.
Yep.
Thank you and good night. Thank you guys for watching. Check out the rest of our episodes here and don't forget to subscribe here. We'll see you guys on the next one.